Hey ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to the show. In today's gaming news, we get some more details on WildStar's free-to-play transition, Final Fantasy XIV shows off its new raid, and Skyforge enters open beta this month. Since I've been doing pretty much nothing but playing an MMO for the past couple of weeks, I figured it was fitting to just make an episode of the feed about MMOs. We're going to talk about some that I'm not playing at the moment though, that have some pretty big stuff going on. First of which, if you don't remember, WildStar is making a free-to-play transition this upcoming fall. And with that upcoming transition, we've got a bunch of new details. During a live stream that took place last week, we get about 1 hour's worth of information that's going to include new areas being added to the game and adjustments to the introductory tutorial, changes to the low-level dungeon experience, and much more. Hopefully they make a good effort in doing this thing properly and, you know, bringing in new players as a result. So like a lot of these MMOs that I've played, I've enjoyed parts of it, but didn't ultimately stick with it for too very long. I liked the combat in WildStar. I loved going through the dungeons. I ended up reaching endgame and just honestly felt like I didn't feel like going through that grind to attune myself to raids, and frankly, I didn't have 39 other people to play with either, so it kind of fell by the wayside there. But they're making some changes and adjustments to hopefully make the overall experience a little bit more noob friendly, and again, with that free-to-play transition, hope they bring in some more players. Next up, we'll be talking about Final Fantasy XIV's Heaven's Ward expansion, which I called Heaven's Sword last time. Let's be honest, Heaven's Sword's probably a better name. Well, they had their launch a couple of weeks ago of this expansion. They've given players some time to level up, and now they're going to be introducing the Raid. Their new 8-man raid that goes by the name of Alexander promises to bring forth a bunch of challenging content. Now, the normal version is supposed to be released this week, with hard mode versions coming within the next 2 weeks or so. Once more, like I talked about it last time, I hear nothing but great things about this game, even though I just don't happen to play it. It's hard to find the time to play all the games that I want to play as is. Cool to see that they're adding a brand new raid. Go check out that trailer. You know, I wasn't so much digging personally the music that they were playing, but you know, it's music and that all comes down to personal preference, and that really doesn't matter because the music that they play in the trailer isn't indicative of what the raid's gonna be like. That's not even, there's no correlation. I guess I just felt like bitching about something apparently. And last up today, I want to let you guys know that Skyforge will be entering open beta very soon. If you don't happen to remember, Skyforge is an action-focused instance MMORPG. Now, the open beta will be beginning on July 16th, with early access being available to those who hold Founders Packs starting on July the 9th. Now, with the start of this open beta, it's important to know that there will be no future content wipes, so all progress that you make starting at the beginning of the open beta will be carrying over into the official launch of the game. Although it's kind of interesting because it's the open beta of a free-to-play game, which basically means it's the launch, but I feel like a lot of free-to-play games do this just to get in the headlines multiple times. You know, they've got headlines about the open beta of this free-to-play game, and then maybe a couple months from now, they'll get headlines again when it's the official launch. But basically, if you want to play Skyforge, you can just jump in starting in a couple of weeks from now and progress into that launch. I liked Skyforge's combat. I wasn't so keen on how heavily instanced it was. It's really broken and segmented pieces. Reminded me a lot of Vindictus. The other thing I didn't really like about it too much is that the visual customization of your characters is not dependent on the items that you have. It's not, there is gear, like you have weapons and secondary weapons and stuff like that, and rings and amulets, but not traditional, like you're picking up helms and chess pieces, and your visual customization comes through these basically costumes that you put on, many of which, because it's a free-to-play game, can also be purchased. You know, for me, RPGs, having a character that progresses and looks cooler is a big part of it, and having that tied to gear, I find personally more rewarding than having it tied to any achievements I've unlocked or having it tied to something that I purchased from the item shop. But overall, I liked it, and I might revisit Skyforge now that we're going up to the open beta. And that is going to do it for today's episode of The Feed. I know it's very MMO-centric today. Probably not going to be so focused on just MMOs in the next episode, but hey, you know me. I like MMOs, or at the very least, I get heavily addicted to them. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's episode of The Feed. As always, thank you so much for watching. Once again, this has been Force, and you have just been force-fed. I think the funniest part about my entire experience with WildStar is prior to the launch of the game, I was all those scrubs should get out of my MMO. WildStar is a game for hardcore players. And the game comes out, I play it pretty hardcore, but then I reach the hardcorest of hardcore, which is the end game, and I say, I think I'm gonna slink back to the ranks of the noob here. It's, I don't know, it's a lot less time consuming.